There is a pattern that has repeated 4 times in the last 100 years. Every single time it runs, an unusually large number of completely ordinary people become millionaires, not hedge fund managers, not insiders, not the already wealthy, people with regular jobs, regular salaries, and no particular advantage over you. And every single time, the majority of people find out it was happening 15 years too late. They see the documentary, they read the article, and they say the same 3 words: I should have acted. Here is what makes 2026 different from every time this has happened before. You are not 15 years too late. You are watching this at the exact moment the pattern is running, not after. During, and the gap between people who act during and people who act after based on what happened every previous time is measured in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Marcus and James both earn $75,000 a year, same salary, same city, same ordinary Tuesday in 2026. By the time the window closes roughly 4 years from now, based on every adoption curve we can measure, Marcus will have built over $1 million in additional net worth. James will have built almost nothing. This video runs the exact numbers on why. And the first decision that separated them costs less than $40 a month. The pattern doesn't care whether you act on this or not. It ran in 1993 while most people were dismissing the internet as a fad. It ran in 2004 while most people were calling social media a toy for college students. It is running right now while most people are calling AI an overhyped novelty. Every previous time, the people who said, "I'll wait until it's clearer," were the ones who sent their children that sentence: I should have acted. The window is open. It will not stay open much longer. Let me show you what this looks like from the inside, because the gap doesn't feel like a gap while it's opening. Meet James. 38 years old, project manager at a mid-sized logistics company. He's sitting at his desk on a Wednesday afternoon, inbox at 47 unread, another meeting in 11 minutes. He earns $75,000 a year, more than he thought he'd be making when he started out, more than his father ever earned. By every visible measure, James is doing fine. James has heard about AI. He's nodded along to the headlines. He even downloaded a couple of tools and played around for 20 minutes one Sunday evening before his daughter called him for dinner. He told himself he'd get serious about it when things slowed down at work. He's been telling himself that for about 2 years. Here's what James doesn't know. While he's been waiting for a better moment to start, a study just ran the numbers on people exactly like him. PwC analysed more than 1 billion job advertisements across 27 countries. The finding: workers with AI skills earn 62% more than workers without them in the same roles. 62%. At James's salary, that gap is $46,000 a year. Every year he waits, he leaves that money on the table and hands it to the person next to him who didn't wait. And his job itself isn't safe either. AI exposed roles grew 69% last year. The overall job market grew 9%, nearly 8 times faster. The workers getting promoted right now, getting protected during budget cuts, getting the raises that actually move the needle, they're the ones who position themselves early. The workers who waited are the ones getting quietly restructured. James doesn't feel behind. He shows up every day. His reviews are decent. His salary is there. The trap doesn't look like a trap while it's closing. That's exactly how it works. Before I show you what Marcus did, I need to give you one idea that reframes everything else. The gold rush of 1849. Most people remember it as the story of the miners' men who went west, dug into the ground, gambled everything on finding something. Some won. Most didn't. But there's a part of that story almost nobody tells. The people who sold the shovels, the picks, the boots, and the denim jeans almost all made money. Every single one of them. Levi Strauss didn't dig for gold. He sold the people digging something they needed regardless of whether they struck anything. He built a company that still exists today. The AI revolution has the same structure. There is an infrastructure layer, the shovels and the rails that every application runs on, whether it wins or loses. There is a career layer, being the most productive person in any room you walk into. and there is a business layer using the tools to build an advantage your competitors don't have yet. Marcus saw all three. He started with the one that required the least time, the least risk, and the smallest monthly commitment. Then he built from there. James saw the same three options and told himself he'd start when he had a clearer picture of which one was right. Everything I'm about to show you is financial education, not personal advice. The numbers are sourced and real. The decisions are yours. The first thing Marcus did was the least glamorous. Nobody noticed. Nobody wrote a newsletter about it. He didn't post about it. He just opened his brokerage account on a Saturday morning while his coffee was still hot, and he set up an automatic transfer of $300 a month into a low-cost index fund covering 4 specific sectors. Then he closed the laptop and went to watch his son's football game. He did that because he understood something most investors miss during every major technology revolution. You don't have to predict who wins the race to profit from the race being run. Think about the internet boom of the 1990s. Most people tried to pick the winning websites. Most of them were wrong. They lost real money on companies that seemed certain to dominate. But the people who owned the cables, the servers, the routers, the actual backbone of the internet made consistent money regardless of which websites survived, because every website, winning or losing, ran on those rails. AI has the same backbone, 4 pieces: semiconductor chips, data centers, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. Every AI prompt, every generated image, every automated workflow touches all 4 of those sectors. And you don't need to know which AI company wins to benefit from them. They all use the same rails. $300 a month, compounding at 7% for 10 years, becomes roughly $517,000. Not through luck, not through picking a winning stock on a podcast tip, through setting up one automatic transfer on a Saturday morning and leaving it alone. James looked at the same option. He said the market felt too volatile. He was going to wait for a better entry point. He's still waiting. The second thing Marcus did cost him $37 a month and 4 hours on Sunday evenings for about 3 months. He picked 3 AI tools that overlapped directly with work he was already doing: project workflow automation, AI-assisted reporting, and client communication drafts. He didn't take a computer science course. He didn't learn to code. He just got good enough at 3 specific tools to be meaningfully faster and more accurate than anyone else on his team. Here's the number that explains what happened next. MIT and Harvard researchers tracked workers using AI tools against workers who weren't. The AI-assisted workers completed tasks 40% faster, with significantly higher quality scores. 40% faster is 2 extra working days added to your week for free, purely from learning tools that already exist. Within 18 months, Marcus was the person his manager called when something needed to be done well and quickly. Within 3 years, he had been promoted twice. His salary, which started at the same $75,000 as James, was sitting at $110,000, not because he worked longer hours, because he was worth more per hour than the person next to him who had decided to wait. Now here is the part of this story that most people miss, and it's the part that should make you genuinely uncomfortable if you're sitting where James is sitting. The 54% of workers who told edX they believe AI skills are critical for staying competitive, only 4% of them are actually pursuing those skills right now. That is a 50-point gap between knowing you should do something and actually doing it. That gap is Marcus's advantage. It is also yours if you decide to take it. James is still at 75,000. His reviews are still fine. But fine is the wrong position to be in when the person sitting next to you is 40% more productive at the same cost. The third thing Marcus did, he almost didn't do it. He mentioned the idea to his wife on a Thursday evening and she told him to try it for 90 days and see what happened. He had noticed something while he was learning AI tools for his own job. Almost every business around him, the dry cleaner his family used, the contractor who fixed their roof, the insurance broker his company worked with was operating the exact same way it was in 2019. Same software, same manual processes, same time spent on tasks that AI tools could now handle in minutes, and they had no idea. He started with one client, a small accounting firm that was spending 12 hours a week on client communication, report formatting, and scheduling follow-ups. Marcus set up free AI tools over 2 Saturdays. Those 12 hours dropped to 2. He charged the firm $800 a month. They said yes before he finished the sentence. Within a year he had 7 clients. $5,600 a month, $67,000 a year on top of his salary from a skill he had spent 3 months learning in his spare time. The reason this works and why it will keep working for the next 2 to 3 years is that same 50-point gap. 44% of American businesses have not yet started using AI in any meaningful way. You don't need all of them, you need 5. Charge them something fair for something real and you have an income stream that didn't exist 3 years ago. This exact pattern ran during the internet era. Small consultants who could build a basic website earned thousands a month from businesses who desperately needed one but had no idea how to start. Most of those consultants weren't developers. They just knew slightly more than the business owners around them, and they were willing to charge for that gap. Marcus knew slightly more. He charged for it. James said it sounded interesting over lunch and never looked into it. Let me put all 3 of Marcus's moves together, because the number only becomes real when you see it as one picture. Marcus at 38, same $75,000 as James. He sets up the $300 monthly infrastructure allocation. He spends 4 hours a week for 3 months learning free tools. He takes on his first consulting client at $800 a month. Nothing about his life looks dramatically different from the outside. He drives the same car, lives in the same neighborhood, takes one decent vacation a year. Marcus at 48, 10 years later. His salary has grown to $110,000 through 2 promotions driven directly by his productivity advantage. His consulting practice, which he deliberately kept small, never more than 7 clients, generates an additional $67,000 a year. And the infrastructure allocation he set up on that Saturday morning, left untouched for a decade, has compounded to roughly $517,000. Total additional net worth Marcus built above his baseline in 10 years, $1.2 million. Not through a windfall, not through a lucky stock, through 3 decisions made at 38 on ordinary days when nobody was watching. James at 48, same company, similar title, $78,000 a year after a decade of raises that barely kept pace with inflation. He missed 2 promotion cycles to colleagues who had learned the tools he'd been meaning to get to. His retirement account is behind where the calculators said it should be. He doesn't open those projections as often as he used to. Here's the thing that doesn't get said plainly enough in videos like this one. The distance between these 2 men wasn't intelligence, it wasn't luck, it wasn't connections, background or timing. It was a handful of decisions made in their 30s, on days that felt like any other day, that turned out to decide everything. Marcus's first move happened on a Monday morning. He opened one browser tab, typed the name of one AI tool into the search bar, and spent 40 minutes learning how it worked. He didn't finish everything that day. He came back the next Monday, and the Monday after that. Within 6 weeks he was faster at his job than he had been in 5 years. That's where you start. One tab, one tool. Something that overlaps with work you already do. If you work in healthcare clinical documentation, patient scheduling follow-up. If you work in finance report generation, data extraction, variance analysis. If you work in marketing brief writing, content drafting, campaign reporting. If you work in project management workflow automation, stakeholder update drafts, status summaries. Every professional function has 2 or 3 AI tools that can make you meaningfully faster right now, this week, using software that already exists. His second move was the Saturday morning brokerage setup. If you have any retirement account, any investment vehicle, any long-term savings, spend 30 minutes this weekend checking whether it includes meaningful exposure to the infrastructure layer. Semiconductors, data centers, cloud computing, cybersecurity. You don't need to pick a winning AI company. You just need to be on the rails every winning company runs on. His third move, the consulting idea, he didn't plan. He noticed a problem, tried to solve it for one person, and charged a fair rate. That's the whole template. Look at the businesses around you operating in 2019. Find one. Solve one specific problem with one specific tool. Charge something reasonable. See what happens. The tool linked below helps with the first step. It maps your current role to the specific AI tools already being used in your industry to save time. It takes 10 minutes. That's Marcus's Monday morning in a browser tab right now. Here's where our two men end up not as numbers but as lives. Marcus is 48. He doesn't have the most impressive job title in the building. The car in his driveway is 4 years old. He takes one good vacation a year, somewhere his kids will actually remember. His life from the outside looks completely ordinary. From the inside, he has something most people in his position don't. He has options. The mortgage is nearly paid. The consulting income is steady. The investment account his wife thought he was being boring about has quietly become something real. He could stop tomorrow and the numbers would still work. He doesn't need to. That's the difference. James is 48. From the outside, his life looks almost identical to Marcus's. Same neighborhood, roughly, similar house. The kind of life that photographs well and feels hollow at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night when he runs the retirement calculator and closes the laptop before it finishes loading. He did everything right. That's the cruelest part of James's story. He showed up. He worked hard. He was loyal and consistent and professional. Nobody warned him that being good enough, in a world that was actively rewarding better, was the same as quietly falling behind. Nobody sat him down at 38 and said, "The window you're about to miss is the one that decides everything." That's what this video was. The pattern is older than any of us. It ran in 1880 with electricity. It ran in 1950 with the post-war economy. It ran in 1993 with the internet. It ran in 2004 with social media. Every single time the early window looked unimpressive. Every single time the people inside it looked like they were overreacting. Every single time the people on the outside watching said there'd be more time. There was never more time. Marcus started on a Tuesday that felt like any other Tuesday. In a kitchen. With a laptop. While the coffee was going cold, nobody mapped it for him. If this landed two things, subscribe, because every video on this channel runs the real numbers on the shifts happening right now, while most people are still deciding whether to take them seriously. That's what this is built for. And take the first step before the tab closes. The tool linked below maps your specific role to the AI tools, already saving time in your industry. 10 minutes. That's it. That's Marcus's Monday morning. I'll see you in the next one.